السلام عليكم طلاب المرحلة الأولى، شلونكم؟ أخباركم؟ إن شاء الله زينين. اليوم محاضرتنا على الباسيف. احنا أخذنا بالمحاضرة السابقة اليونت 42 كانت على الباسيف 1 in general. اليوم راح ندخل بتفاصيل وفي التفاصيل يكمن الشيطان، فديروا بالكم. فهاي التفاصيل اللي ممكن انه شوية تغلط، بس هو عموما للتذكير الباسيف generally speaking is used when the subject is either unknown or not important. يعني this is the main idea. وانا قلت لكم بوقتها الباسيف بالعربي يختلف عن الانجليزي، لانه بالعربي is unknown تماما، لذلك نسميه مبني المجهول. بالانجليزي حالتين، يا اما unknown يا اما not important. وطبعا لما نتكلم على الباسيف احنا لازم نتكلم على verb transitive object. يعني الانترانسيتيف فيربس على ايش يستخدموا اياها باسيف؟ ما بيها اوبجكت. يعني الباسيف بشكل عام الفكره مالته انه استخدام الاوبجكت في البدايه لانه السبجكت از unknown. construction structures واضحه ومحدده. بالunit 43 we have how to use the passive with infinitive, with perfect, infinitive, with present perfect, with past perfect, with the present continuous, and with past continuous. Okay. If we have infinitive, of course, you know, the infinitive means to plus the base form of the verb. هذا المقصود بالinfinitive. To plus the base form of the verb. مثلا عندنا somebody will clean this room later. Okay. Somebody will clean this room later. إن الباسيف معناته راح يكون this room will be cleaned. فنستخدم will plus be plus the base the past participle. Okay, so this room will be cleaned later. So why we are using passive here? Because to somebody, her, the subject is not that important. Nobody wants to know who cleaned the room. The most important thing is to find the room cleaned. So the person who cleaned the room is not that important. So that's why we say this room will be cleaned later. Okay. Of course, there are some other examples here. Now, situation, a mystery, the music, a new supermarket, and all these nouns are in fact objects in the active sentences, but they are turned to be or to have the subject position because it is passive. Now here, for instance, you say something must be done before it's too late. Okay, so it means that somebody made the situation serious. Okay, somebody did a situation which is serious. So here we say something must be done before it's too late. So be done, be explained, be heard, to be built is going, her is going to be built. Okay, I want to be left alone. So either we use to, optional her, like in these two sentences, or we don't use to. So we say just the room will be cleaned or is going to be built. I want to be left alone. All right, this is with infinitive. With perfect, because you know the perfect infinitive means to have done. To plus have plus past participle, or to have been done when we have passive. Okay, it's changed. To have done is changed into to have been done. So when you say, for instance, somebody should have cleaned the room. Somebody should have cleaned. This is the active. This is the active. Somebody should have. This is with modal verb. Modal verb. You remember when you use perfect with should, what do we use? We use have plus past participle. So this is active. Somebody should have cleaned the room. Okay. Now the room should have been cleaned. So what do? we put been. Why been her, not be? Because this is perfect. This is perfect. Since we have perfect, so we have to use been instead of be. Okay, so instead of say, this room shall be cleaned, for instance, or should be cleaned later, we say should have been cleaned. All right, which means that we are using something to refer to an action happened in the past. So we say the room should have been cleaned, or might have been sent, or have been stolen, or to. Okay, look here, we have to. So to her is optional, but they seem to have been solved. All right. Now, when do we use to, and when we don't use to? It depends on the situation, on the context. So the to her is optional. It's not obligatory, depending on the context that we are using the passive construction. Now, this is perfect infinitive. Remember, please try to distinguish clearly between perfect infinitive and present perfect. Present perfect, we have, has, plus past participle. You know this. But perfect infinitive means we have to, have, plus, because infinitive, it is infinitive, but perfect. All right? Now we have infinitive here without perfect, so it is to plus the base form. But here we have perfect infinitive, which means we have to plus the base plus have. This is to, or without to. So the infinitive, remember, we have something which is called the bare infinitive. bare infinitive يعني infinitive المجرد أو المصدر المجرد. أوكي. هذا عندنا هو مصدر مؤول باللغة العربية. ما عندنا في شيء اسمه مقابل مصدر مجرد. ما عندنا. Okay. So we say in English here, we say to have done, cleaned. So to is optional. Why? Because we have two types of infinitives. Either bare infinitives, which is المصدر المجرد يعني فقط البيس اللي هو هذا should have been cleaned, أو مع ال to اللي هي to have been solved. Okay, so we have two types of infinitives. The same her. The difference is that we have the present perfect اللي هو has, have plus past participle. Now her, when we change the active into passive in the present perfect, we just add been. We don't have problem here. So for instance, we say, have you heard the trip has been cancelled? Now the trip has been cancelled. Why we are using passive here? Because there is no importance who the specific person who cancelled the trip. This is not that important. The most important thing is that the trip has been cancelled. Now who did that? Who was the person who did that? Or who is the person who did that? It's not that important. All right? So we say the trip has been cancelled. This is the passive. For instance, the active here, somebody has cancelled the trip. This is the active. So we say the trip has been cancelled. Now, if we have the past perfect, which is had plus past participle, the same idea with the present perfect. We just add been. But here, instead of using have plus past participle, we use had. You know, the past perfect, had. So if we say, for instance, somebody had cleaned it, so we say it had been cleaned. It had been cleaned. Or we say they had been cooked. They had the vegetables didn't taste good. They had been cooked too long. Okay. Or the car was 3 years old but hadn't been used very much. So we have present perfect here and past perfect. Now in D here we have, instead of perfect, in D here we have continuous. Now you know the continuous here, am is R plus verb with ing. For instance, we say somebody is cleaning the room at the moment. Now the main difference between the perfect and continuous is that in perfect we are using been, In continuous, we are using being with ing because we have verb to be. And whenever we have verb to be, we have verb with ing. You know this. So we say the room is being cleaned at the moment, not had or have been cleaned or has been cleaned. So with present perfect, we use has been cleaned. With past perfect, we use had been cleaned. But with continuous, present continuous, we say is being cleaned at the moment. Okay? And if we have the past continuous, so instead of using is, we are using was. So somebody was cleaning the room. We say the room was being cleaned when I arrived. عموما باعوا هي بشكل عام الباسيف، يعني الملاحظة اللي أريد أقولها بخصوص الباسيف استخدامه لما يكون الفاعل مجهول أو غير مهم حسب النص وحسب الجملة اللي نريد احنا نقولها. الستراكشرز المستخدم حسب التنس المستخدم، إذا infinitive، إذا present perfect أو perfect infinitive، present perfect، past perfect، present continuous or past continuous. Okay. Now with the next unit شوية الأمور حتبدي تتعقد. هي مو تتعقد، بس شوفوا الباسيف 3 يعني حتى بس تاخذون صورة احنا ليش هو بالكتاب ليش مقسم لكم هاي اليونتات. الباسيف 1 اللي اخذناه الاسبوع الماضي هو الاساس. هذا هو الاساس. يعني شنو قصدي الاساس؟ قصدي the most common structures used in English، الاستخدام الأعم والأشمل باللغة الإنجليزية. هذا يستخدم بس أقل، أوكي، أقل. لكن هذا 44 استخدامه نادر، لذلك يكون الاستخدام النادر أو الاستخدام القليل هو الأكثر احتمال أنه نوقع به بالأخطاء، لأنه احنا ما متعودين نستخدمه هواية. هذا شنو بي A و B و C و D as you can see here. So in A we say I was offered, we were given. And in B we say I don't like pink. And in C we say I was born. And in D we use get. خلينا نشوف شنو هذول كل واحد من عندهم على حدة. I was offered, we were given. Some verbs here have two objects. بعد انتبهوا لي هنا بداية هاي المحاضرة أنا قلت لكم الباسيف يجب أن يستخدم مع الأفعال متعدية transitive verbs، أوكي. لكن الأكتيف بعض الأفعال إذا هي غير متعدية فما ممكن نستخدم وياها الباسيف. شلون نستخدم وياها الباسيف؟ إذا هو ماكو object، تمام ولا لا؟ فلذلك في بعض الأحيان تعرفون أنتم الترانسيتيف verbs ممكن تكون monotransitive وممكن تكون diatransitive، أوكي. فالمونوترانسيتيف يصير بيها one structure، الدايترانسيتيف يصير بيها two structures لأنه عندنا two objects. فشوفوا هنا مثلا somebody gave the police the information. الفعل give ياخذ two objects اللي هي البوليس والinformation. طبعا هذا احنا نسميه direct and indirect objects. هسه هاي مو مشكلة. فلما يكون عندنا الفعل دايترانسيتيف ب two objects راح يصير عندنا two structures. يعني here somebody gave the police the information. مخبر هذا شيء من هو somebody، هاي الأكتف. somebody gave the police the information. المخبر هذا الأكتف. نريد نسوي passive، إيش راح يصير؟ راح يصير the police were given the information. The police were given the information أو the information was given to the police. يعني احنا عندنا two structures. طبعا هنا الأمثلة بعض الأفعال الأخرى اللي نعطينا إياها اللي هي ask، offer، pay، show، أوكي، teach، tell. هاي الأفعال يسموها diatransitive verbs. diatransitive verbs يعني أفعال تأخذ مفعولين، أوكي. فكلها هاي الأفعال كلها ممكن تدخل ضمن شنو؟ ضمن هذا الستركتشر، أنه تأخذ two ways of expressing the constructions. alright، two way of expressing the construction. طبعا هنا بالكتاب دا يقول لكم هاي الافعال اذا اجت غالبا الاجابه عنها باستخدام الاي. alright, استخدام الاي يعني نقول when we use these verbs in the passive, most often we begin with the person, الاي. So we say I've offered the job but I don't think I'll accept it. اللي هي معناها they have offered me the job. هذا الأكتف. They subject have offered. Okay, present perfect. All right. Me the job. Indirect object والdirect object. me indirect object والjob هي direct object. بس إذا راح أتوقف لهنا، سأوقف هذا وأرجع أنطي جزء ثاني للمحاضرة.